welcome back to the channel. I'm Stacy and you're watching Pop Culture Time Machine, where we hit rewind and relive the legendary, the cringy, and the unforgettable moments that happened this very week, way back when. All right, let's kick it off with Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon, spending 303 weeks on March 29th, 1980 on the Billboard 200 chart. Isn't just a chart statistic, it's a statement about how pop culture itself changed in the 1970s and after. Before Dark Side, pop success was mostly about hit singles. This album flipped that logic, making people who listened to it front to back. Radio stations played entire sides late at night. Fans treated it as a complete experience and not just a collection of songs. So the pop culture shift was the album became a destination, not just a delivery system for hits. This paved the way for concept albums, prog rock, hip hop albums, and modern album drops. Dark Side of the Moon deals with mental illness, death, time, money, alienation, and pressures of modern life. Yet it stayed on the Billboard 200 chart for nearly 6 years. That sent a powerful message. You didn't have to be shallow to be popular. The pop culture shift meant angst became mainstream. You can trace a direct line from Dark Side to artists like Radiohead, Kendrick Lamar, and even modern pop stars who focused on vulnerability. 303 weeks didn't come from hype. It came from word of mouth, repeat listening, music listener culture, dorm rooms, headphones, and late night introspection. This created a new model of success. Slow burn equals flash popularity. Longevity equaled chart peaks. The pop culture shift with cultural importance replaced novelty at the highest achievement. This album's seamless transition, studio experimentation, sound effects, synth textures, and encouraged private immersive listening. Pop culture shift was music became introspective, listening alone became meaningful, albums turned into emotional companions. This directly influenced how people experienced music today, from ambient playlists to concept driven streaming albums. Because the album stayed on the charts for so long, multiple generations encountered it at different life stages. It became a rite of passage. It crossed age, class, and national boundaries. So the pop culture shift became rock music became timeless rather than youth bond. Dark Side of the Moon proved that experimental sound could sell, artistic ambition could be profitable, commercial success didn't require simplification. This gave record labels temporarily more freedom to fund ambitious projects, trust artists' visions, let albums grow organically. So the pop culture shift was art and commerce didn't have to be enemies. In simple terms, 303 weeks on the Billboard chart meant pop culture slowed down, depth beat immediacy. Albums became emotional, philosophical landmarks, and music became something people lived with, not just consumed. Let's not forget those iconic TV shows, like when The Carol Burnett Show ended its original run on March 29th, 1978. It marked the close of a major chapter in American pop culture, the moment when old school communal television comedy gave way to a more fragmented, ironic, and niche media world. For over a decade, The Carol Burnett Show had been a weekly family event watched across generations, safe, silly, and broadly appealing. So when it ended, variety shows faded from prime time. TV comedy shifted towards sitcoms and stand up. The pop culture shift came as shared national laughter became rarer. Comedy stopped being something everyone watched together. The show's humor relied on broad physical gags, fully inhabited characters, ensemble chemistry, live audience spontaneity. The pop culture shift came as comedy became more verbal, ironic, and self aware in the years that followed Saturday Night Live and later sitcoms. Carol Burnett was the first woman to host a long running primetime variety show, a boss, creator, and performer, funny without being sexualized or sidelined. And then the show ended, it highlighted how rare that level of female creativity control still was, a gap that wouldn't fully close for decades. The pop culture shift came as Burnett became a blueprint, influencing Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Maya Rudolph, and many others. The show represented middle of the road network programming, humor that avoided politics or cynicism, broad emotional warmth. After 1978, TV became more edgy or issue driven. Audiences splintered, cable and late night comedy rose. So the pop culture shift came as television lost its emotional middle ground. The Carol Burnett show thrived on live tapings, on the spot mistakes, breaking character. The pop culture shift came as comedy became more polished and controlled, moving away from visible human imperfection. As reruns spread, the show became a symbol of classic TV. Nostalgia became a cultural product. Earlier eras were reframed as warmer and simpler. The pop culture shift happened as pop culture began actively remembering itself. So when the Carol Burnett show ended, it meant the last great variety show era closed. Family-wide TV moments faded, women's leadership and comedy was cemented as possible. TV comedy moved toward irony, niche audiences, and sharper edges. So the show didn't just end. It became a benchmark for kindness, craft, and ensemble comedy that later generations kept measuring themselves against. Here's your Did You Know of the Week. On April 4th, 1975, Microsoft was founded by Bill Gates and Paul Allen. It marked the moment when computing began its shift from an institutional tool to a personal cultural force. At first, it seemed technical and niche, but culturally, it helped shape how people work, think, communicate, and imagine the future. So before Microsoft, computers were associated with governments, universities, and big businesses. They felt distant, intimidating, and elite. Microsoft's mission focused on a computer on every desk and in every home. The pop culture shift is that technology became intimate and domestic. The computer moved into bedrooms, classrooms, and living rooms. Microsoft didn't make hardware, it made software. So MS DOS, Windows, Office, the pop culture shift became as the invisible became essential. Interfaces, icons, and menus became everyday visual language, shaping how people understand logic, productivity, and creativity. With Windows and office work became digital, paper, typewriters, and filing cabinets faded. Knowledge work expanded. So the pop culture shift became the desk job, became the cultural norm. Emails, spreadsheets, and PowerPoint shaped how success and professionalism looked. Microsoft's founders were young, technically obsessed, socially unglamorous by traditional standards, and the pop culture shift became as intelligence and coding became pathways to influence. This helped flip cultural hierarchies. The nerd evolved into the CEO, billionaire, and a cultural archetype. Windows became a global default. Same screens, same shortcuts, same error messages. The pop culture shift became a shared digital experience emerged. People across countries interacted with machines in the same way, creating a common technological culture. Without Microsoft, home computing would have spread more slowly. The web's mass adoption would have been delayed. Digital literacy wouldn't be assumed. The pop culture shift became about being computer literate. It became part of being modern. In simple terms, Microsoft's founding meant computers entered everyday life. Software shaped human behavior. Nerd culture gained power. Work, communication, and creativity became digital. Technology stopped being futuristic and became ordinary. So Microsoft didn't just build tools, it helped build the modern world's cultural operating system. And that's your nostalgic rewind. This week in pop culture history gave us everything. What's your favorite throwback moment? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a ride in the pop culture time machine. Until next week, stay nostalgic, stay fabulous.